The Joe Rogan Experience. I think that was pretty good, actually. If you play that back, you're gonna go, holy shit, he did the monkey and the Joe Rogan thing. So the Joe Rogan Experience had Mr. Aaron Rodgers on it. It was a really good episode, actually. They kind of went into all kinds of things. You know, Joe doesn't know a lot about football, so there wasn't really a lot of that talk, which was interesting. That I still found it very interesting. But they talked a lot about DMT and mushrooms and his whole experience on tripping. But one of the biggest things that he talked about was COVID and the way that Aaron Rodgers was affected by COVID. So it's very interesting because I think in a lot of ways, this will be kind of scary. This would have been kind of a very terrifying thing to do like a year ago. This might have gotten both of them canceled from the way that they talk about COVID. Even now, I'm trying to think about how I should watch my words or whatever else. But I thought it was very telling how much research Aaron Rodgers had done. He did not sound like a novice with this. He did not sound like he sounded really smart with it. He knew a lot of medical technical terms. He met with a lot of doctors. And it's just funny now because, you know, I live in Texas. I live in Houston, Texas. You know, we H-Town, we do not give a fuck about COVID. I do not give a fuck about monkeypox or COVID. That shit is over. Let me live my life. I think, and they talk about a lot too, that you really saw that the people that were affected were the overweight, the obese. It's not a conspiracy to say that, listen, this was something brand new that the government then used to try something out, which was the quarantine, which then led to stimulus checks, which then led to a lot of things that maybe shouldn't have happened in this country. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that COVID wasn't real. It was definitely real. It was a disease. It was an infection that was out there. Not a disease. It was an infection, a virus that was going around, and it would get some people really sick and some people not. If you had health conditions or you were overweight, it would cause you to pass away possibly. And it took lives for sure. That being said, I don't think staying home the way we did helped anything. I don't think that the masks helped anything. I think that we coddled our immune systems. We should have just herd immunity should have been immediately what we tried to do and see actually what would have happened. I'm more and more on the side of we're never going to find out. That really part of the conspiracy where it's like we're never actually going to know. But I do think that something behind the scenes was afoot. Something was the reason that they did this. And I would argue that the government wanted to see what they could get away with. And can they quarantine us? Can they scare us? Can they get us under control? Can they get a huge portion of the population to believe? And so I don't know. The Aaron Rodgers and Joe Rogan, two huge names in their fields. Joe Rogan, the GOAT of podcasts and everything else. I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say this is going to go down as a pretty big podcast with him. There's a lot that is cancelable, I guess, if that's a word, that I'm totally aware of. But there is totally people out there that will hate both of them for this talk that they had. But I thought it was really, really interesting. I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan, as y'all know. I'm a Tom Brady disciple. But I still was impressed by Aaron Rodgers. We were having this conversation at work about Aaron Rodgers versus Brett Favre, and I'm Brett Favre all day in that conversation, mostly because I love the gunslinger attitude. I love how much he was just a big kid out there just playing football. He loved to play football. So I'm going to go Brett Favre because of his face and the way that he reacts to the game. He wants to win. He would go out there killing himself to win. But for Aaron Rodgers, I just never see it. I never see his face kind of change. He's always the same level. It's always very boring. And I'm just not that impressed by Aaron Rodgers. But I was impressed by him on Joe Rogan, and I do think that this will go down as a very influential podcast. Much like this one. Same.